I go in the bank. I'm waiting to cash a check for like $6,000. Next thing I know, bam, a cop walks up. They grab me from behind. They arrest me. They walk me in the back. That's it. I already know I'm on the Social Secret Service's most wanted list. They take me in the back. They sit me down. All the customers are looking at me. Guy says, Mr. Sullivan, we're waiting for the detective to show up. I'm thinking detective, okay, that's like FBI or something, I guess. He's coming. Well, then this cop comes in and he says, hey, I'm with the Richmond County Sheriff's Department. Fraud Department called us. They said you're running some kind of a scam. You're pulling out cash. I go, are you serious? He goes, I said, look, man, am I under arrest? He's like, no. I said, well, I feel like I'm under arrest. And I show him my cuffs and he goes, oh, take those off him. Takes them off me. They call the Wachovia head of security. He's on the phone. He says, okay, now what's going on? He's borrowed how many loans? He said, you got 3 loans on the house. I actually had like 6. Oh, okay. I said, yeah, is that illegal? And the guy goes, I'm not really sure. And I remember right then thinking, I'm walking out of here. I just got to convince this guy I haven't done anything wrong. I start arguing with him. This guy's saying he's got all first mortgages. I'm saying they're not all first mortgages. Wachovia is a first mortgage because they know they lent me a first mortgage. And he goes, who are the other ones? And he goes, oh, SunTrust and so and so. Right. SunTrust is a credit line. The other one is a second mortgage. That's the 3. And he's like, well, he wants to know why you took out all that money, $500,000 on a $200,000 house. I said, bro, I don't know how it works. I work for a labor company. I give him my business card. I said, all I know is I came here. The woman, I told her I needed $500,000. The loan officer said, I can get you this much. I got a friend over here. She can get you this much. It sounds to me like they got a problem at the bank. Okay. And the guy's screaming. It's a shotgunning scam. You don't understand. He's doing this. He's doing that. And he's like, and I'm saying, man, I wouldn't know how to do this. I don't know what he's talking about. And he says, yeah, this guy he works for a labor company. He doesn't, and he's like, well, why are you pulling out all this cash? And I go, well, I'm cashing guys' checks. I mean, I got a bunch of Mexican guys that doing roofs and they don't take checks, or I give them a check and I cash a check. I mean, is that illegal? No, that's not illegal. Okay. He eventually says, okay, I'm going to take him downtown, have him fill out a police report. I'm waiting for the district attorney to call me back. I don't even know what to charge him with, if I can charge him with anything. I follow him to the police station. I go in the police station, fill out the police report. I'm waiting in the hallway. My wanted poster, by the way, is on the wall. Fill out the report. Guy walks me out. I get in my car. I leave. I go straight to 2 more banks and get out more money. I get a check for like $29,000. And so I go in. I say, hey, my name's Scott Cugno. I need to cash this check. So why don't you put it in your bank? And I said, well, because my bank's in Florida and they're going to hold it for who knows how long. They go, that doesn't make sense. Let's talk to the manager. Manager comes out. He says, okay. He says, what's going on? I said, look, I need to cash the check. And he goes, okay. So he takes the check and my ID and my credit card and he leaves. Guy comes back and he goes, okay, Mr. Cugno, I have a question for you. He said, how did you get the check issued to you? And I went, well, a guy refinanced his house and he paid me the check. Okay, why? I'm adding an addition onto his house and this is part of the draw. That makes sense. He leaves. He comes back. He goes, what are you going to do with the cash? And I go, are you serious? And he goes, I feel apprehensive about this. And I went, well, I'm going to cash a lot of the guys' checks. We give them checks and they don't have bank accounts because, they just don't. They're laborers and we're going to cash some of their checks. And he goes, okay, that makes sense. I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, well, we're trying to, he said, it turns out that this check was issued on a house owned by a Michael Shanahan. So we're just trying to verify that Michael Shanahan issued the check. That's all. Well, there's a real Michael Shanahan. Oh my God. Well, that's not good. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he leaves. I leave the bank for sure. They're calling the cops. I have to wait. A minute later, my phone rings. I look at it. I don't recognize the number. I pick it up and I go, hello. There's a woman like, hi, this is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. Is this Michael Shanahan? And I'm like, yes, it is. We have someone here at the bank trying to cash a cashier's check from the title company. And I'm like, okay. And they said, how much was the amount for? I said, yeah, that was Scott Cugno. It was about $29,000 even, I think. And she says, that's right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shanahan. I said, hey, how did you get my number? Because if you called information, you would have got his real number. Oh, we called the title company. They looked on the application that I had filled out and I'd used the cell number. And they said, we just got it off of there. I hope it's okay. No problem. Okay, thank you. Boom. Hang up the phone. 5 minutes later, still, the guy comes out with some woman, counts out the money to me, gives me the money. I stand up and he says, Mr. Cugno, I would like to say that I feel very uncomfortable about this transaction. And I said, well, what is it exactly? And he goes, I can't put my finger on it. And I said, well, it'll come to you. I was trying to cash a check for $29,000. I actually went to a cash transaction bank. I tried to get them to give me $29,000. They questioned me and they were like, well, what do you need the cash for? why don't you deposit in your own bank account? I'm like, because my bank's in Florida and it'll take 10 days for it to go through. Like, it's good. The check is good, right? The cashier's check. Yeah, it's good. But why do you need it? I was like, well, I mean, I cash people's checks. Like, I work for a labor company and we have laborers and typically they get charged 10% to cash their checks, but I know the checks are good because it's with my company. So I just cash them. And they're like, oh, okay. Like he keeps coming back. He knows something's wrong. So at some point he's in the back and my phone rings and I don't recognize the number. I answer and I go, hello. And the person goes, hi, this is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. Is this Michael Eckert? And I'm sitting there as Scott Cugno trying to cash a check. And I go, yes, this is. She's behind like a glass somewhere. And I'm sitting in the guy's like little cubicle. Hi, we have someone here trying to cash a check. And I was just wondering if you could verify the check. I said, oh yeah, that would be Scott Cugno. Okay, so it's good. I said, yeah, absolutely. By all means, you can cash it. And she goes, okay, thank you. I said, hey, by the way, how did you get my number? The check had originally been cut from a check from a title company we bank with. So we called the title company and they gave us your phone number. I hope that's okay. Absolutely. No problem. You're just curious. Hang up the phone. The manager walks out with a woman that I'm assuming was Kimberly. She never said anything. They sat down and he counted out the money. And I remember I stood up and I'm shoving the money in my pockets. And he says, Mr. Cugno, I want to mention that I feel very apprehensive about this transaction. I go, really? What is it exactly? Can't put my finger on it. I go, it'll come to you. And I just walk off. I go up to the teller. I need $29,000. And she's like, oh, okay. Go sit over there. So I go sit in like the manager's office or something, right? Little cubicle. Manager comes over and says, hey, I understand you're trying to cash this check. I'm like, right. He said, why don't you just deposit in your own bank? I went, well, my bank's in Florida and they're going to hold it for like 10 days and I need the cash because he's like, well, what are you doing with the cash? I go, well, I own a construction company. Yeah. I have a perfect story. Yeah. I own a construction company and we cash, we have a lot of, migrants and stuff and basically, labor, like Mexican laborers and stuff. They don't have bank accounts. I said, so I cash their checks for them. And I said, because I know the checks are good because it's my company. Yeah. And he's like, okay, that makes sense. And he's like, okay.
You're good at this, man.
And he turns around and he leaves. And then at some point the phone rings and I look at the phone and I don't recognize the number. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? And the person says, hi, Mr. Shanahan. Remember I refinanced Michael Shanahan's house. Yeah. Hi, Mr. Shanahan. This is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. We have someone in here trying to cash a large check that was written on a title company account from a refinance you did. Just wondering if you could verify like the payee and the amount. And he's like, yeah, that should be Scott Cugno. And so I say, that should be Scott Cugno. Yep. I believe it's for $29,000. And she's like, oh, okay. And keep in mind, I'm looking around like, Kimberly's in the bank somewhere. Hang up the phone. 5 minutes later, the manager and this chick comes out, walks up to me, and he says, Mr. Cugno, I have your money. And he starts counting out the $29,000. He counts it out twice. Yep. And she's standing there. And I'm assuming this might be Kimberly, although she never talked it, and I'm like, and he counts it out and he goes, okay. And I remember I pick it up and I remember I'm shoving it in my pockets like, I look like you just look like a scoundrel. Yeah. Shoving like, get up and I'm starting to walk off. And he says, Mr. Cugno? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, I'd like to mention something. He said, I feel very apprehensive about this transaction. And I go, really? And I go, what is it exactly? And he goes, I can't put my finger on it. And I go, it'll come to you. Some guy sitting in Romania, he's going online every day, approaching, 80 different men, 40 or 50 of them are responding, corresponds with them, as a girl. Every day he's getting 4 or 5 over the course of a week or so. So he's got 20, 25. And then out of those, maybe 5 or 10 start sending him little bits of money. What happens is eventually the scam is, I really want to come to the U.S. I've saved this much money towards it's going to cost $1,500. I've saved $750, but it's going to take me another year. And of course, the American guy's like, I'll give you the other $750. Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, that's so sweet, so nice. But I have nowhere to stay. Like I could stay in a hotel, or I could stay on. If you don't mind, I could sleep on your couch, or no, you can stay with me. Okay. So he sends $750. Then I got the ticket. I'm on my way. Yeah. Is going through customs, but she never shows up. Calls on the phone. I'm in customs. They will not allow me into the United States because I don't have the minimum amount of money. They're afraid I'm coming here to stay to work when I told them I was just coming on a vacation for 2 weeks. And I need $1,500. Can you wire me through Western Union $1,500 and I'll give it right back to you as soon as I get through customs. So he gives her another $1,500. And then, of course, she never shows up.
I ran for 2 years, and guess how I got caught? A homeboy of mine birthday had came, and
we was hanging out and we was drinking and just having a good time. And he was like, man, I want to go to a strip club, man. He like, it's my birthday. Like, I want to have a good time. I want to, man. I'm like, come on, let's go. So we posted on our stories, like his birthday. I had gave him like a Rolex and everything. I gave him one of my old watches. And we was partying, we was counting money, showing money, you know, just doing little stuff, just, you know, hype. And we left and went to a strip club called Crazy Horse. But by this time, my homeboy, he's so drunk. Like, that's what we do. We get drunk. We talk crazy to everybody. That's why I stopped drinking. But we get to the door. He cussing the security out. So the dude at the door, he like, man, I can't let him in. I'm like, it's his birthday, man, please. So he like, I can't do it. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, man, I give you $200, let him in. No, I can't do it. Ain't no amount of money. He too drunk. We ended up having to go to Uptown Cabaret. It's tore down now. They just tore it down and sold the property. But we ended up going to Uptown Cabaret. And when we sitting outside, we just sitting, it's me, him, and we waiting on some people to pull up. So I'm like, I'm gonna just get out and go ahead and go in. So he like, come on. Man, I get to the door. I got on some Balenciaga slides. Man, I get to the door. Man, they coming from, two police officers came from the other side of the club, like you can come in the entrance another way, because I'm coming this way, they coming this way, guns drawn. And then there was 2 agents that was sitting in the truck in the parking lot. They came guns drawn. And guess what? It was an agent in the inside of the club in the VIP waiting for me to get in. They knew where we was going, because they knew that he's one of my closest associates. So they watching his Instagram, because my page private. So he basically reposted what I posted. Mm-hmm. And they like, okay. So now they stalking him. So they ended up finding out where I'm going to be from just stalking my friends. And we ain't know it. So then, yeah. So the judge, I ran so long, man. The judge like, but if he did this and how was it? The judge couldn't figure it out. And then it was like, the girl ended up, they tried to get in contact with her, and that's why I said, even though I had to go do a year and a day and they killed all my papers, when they got in touch with her, she told them she was lying, but they still sent me off. They was like, yeah, but you still owe restitution over 300-something thousand.
And you ran.
You hid from us. I said, but I'm trying to explain to my lawyer, like, I hid because I didn't do anything. And I'm like, I'm not sitting in jail for something I didn't do.
Doesn't matter.